guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be telling you guys all about Mina's birth story, which was very quick, very wild, painful. It was just a crazy experience for the second time. She is now 7 months, so I figured now was a good time to do it. The day started off, you know what, actually that morning I woke up and I felt terrible and I thought I had COVID, but I was just really just being over dramatic and I just wasn't feeling good. And I think that my body was going through like early stages of labor and I just didn't know, and I was like freaking out. And so let's rewind. So the day before, I actually got my membrane swept that Thursday and I had her that Friday. I'm gonna like insert footage of the day that I actually gave birth to her. It's not like super wild or crazy, just because once I did pull out the camera to start filming, that's when I kind of like got into my head and like calmed myself down from like the oohs and the ahs from all the pain. So it's not like super crazy footage. It's actually kind of long and boring if you ask me. Besides like finding out that she was a girl, that part was exciting. But yeah, so that Thursday on the 25th, I got my membrane swept, and that was an experience. My mucus plug had started to come out, and then once she did that, it was like completely all of her hand, TMI, but that's what happens when you have a baby. Yeah, so I got my membrane swept that Thursday, and I was actually supposed to be induced that Monday, which I didn't want to be induced necessarily. Like I didn't want an induction again. I did that my first go round. I didn't really want to do that. I kind of wanted to experience labor for whatever it was going to be, but I did set an induction date for that Monday, but I didn't make it obviously. And yeah, so before I had to be induced because of COVID, I had to get a COVID screening to make sure that I will be on the right side of the pregnancy ward. So I did that Friday, and I want to say that the COVID screening test put me into like real labor, because that little nose swab is very uncomfortable. And I remember like telling the nurse like, this feels like just as bad as a contraction. And she was like, no, like once you start having contractions, you will feel much worse. So I remember that. So that Friday I went to go get a COVID test. If that was at 2 o'clock. I was done and out of there by 2:30, 2:45. So we went to Walmart right after, because I had to get some last minute things. I brought some things off of Amazon, like some postpartum underwear and stuff, and I didn't buy the right size. So we went to Walmart right after my COVID screening. And in Walmart, I was having contractions like every minute. And like I really didn't think anything about it. Like they were just back to back. But it wasn't like, oh my gosh, like I think this is it. Like it was kind of like I had to stop walking and be like, ooh, like that kind of hurt it. Like a Braxton Hicks almost, but a little worse. Almost a little worse. But yeah, so I was having contractions like every 1 minute, and my husband was just like, let's go in. I'm like, no, because we were right by the hospital. We just left the hospital for my COVID test. So he like, let's just go back and let's go get you checked. And I'm like, no. So once we got done in Target, we probably were in Target for about 30 minutes, and I was having all these contractions. In the car, they almost seemed like they got a little bit worse, but still I was like, no, I'm not going in. This isn't it. Like I want to go get my baby. I wanted to get Milan. She was at her grandmother's house. I wanted to like spend the day with her. You know, my last final days until baby came, I wanted to spend with my my little munchkin. So he was like, no, we're gonna go home, you can get some rest, we'll pick her up later. So he also asked that I want to go to the park and go for a walk, and I'm like, no, I just want my baby. But yeah, so we end up coming home, and from the hospital, from the area we were at to home is probably like a 30-40 minute drive. So this entire time I was having contractions. They were like 1 to 2 minutes apart this entire time. Me not thinking nothing of it, because I didn't experience that the first time with Milan, like just my body naturally going into labor. So I didn't know what that looked like. So I'm like, this isn't it, whatever. So we got home, and I'm waiting for my COVID results to come back, and they told us that it would usually come back in like 3 hours. And if you hear something, then that means you have COVID. If you don't worry about it. You probably don't. It's negative. So those hours kind of went by. It was actually leading up to that last hour of them potentially calling me to tell me my results. And I was just laying in bed, just waiting for that phone call. And I was still having contractions, still not thinking anything of it. And I tried to take a nap in between them. And that's the crazy part. I watched all these videos and everybody would say how if you can't sleep through them, then that's like the real thing. But so I would like try to take naps in between them. And then I got 2 really big contractions back to back. They were big to the point where I'm like, okay, I might get the epidural this time, because this is uncomfortable. And so I went to the bathroom, and on my way back, it felt like I had to go to the bathroom again. I'm like, if you're pregnant, that could totally happen. So I'm like, but I just went, and I'm like, I was contemplating if I wanted to get back in the bed or go back to the bathroom to try to use it again. So I'm like, okay, I'm standing in the hallway, like trying to figure out what I'm about to do. So I walked to the room a little bit. Our bathroom and our room are not that far apart. So I walked into the room a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to the bathroom so I don't have to get up again. So when I'm walking back to the bathroom, it literally felt like I was peeing on myself. And I was just like, and I laughed, because I remember saying, like, I can't wait to yell to my husband and tell him that my water broke. And that's exactly what happened. So I was yelling to Babe, telling him that my water broke, and he comes up the stairs video recording me. I was in my birthday suit while he's video recording me, and fluids leaking out onto the ground. So I was just like very shocked. I was very shocked that was happening, because again, that didn't happen the first go round. I got my water broken, so I didn't know what that felt like. I didn't know what that looked like for me. So yeah, so my water broke. I called my mom, like, I don't even know what to do. She was like, well, it's time, like, go to the hospital. So we got everything ready. We pretty much were, like, our bags were at the door, because we had a few false alarms before that. Actually, I was really just trying to, like, get the baby on. I was like, I kept going back, like, okay, can I do something, anything? No? Okay. So our bags were at the door pretty much, so we just put them in the car. I got myself ready. I'm glad I had like already took a shower and everything before this happened. So yeah, so John sped to the hospital, and I was just like, I'd rather get there safely, but he had his hazards on, going above the speed limit the entire time. But yeah, so once my water broke, those contractions, and I don't know if I've been giving you guys like a bump date with her, I don't think. So when I was pregnant with her, Mina was behind my placenta, so I was able to like literally feel every movement, every kick, finger, toe, like I felt it all, like with her inside of me. So once my water broke and I was having those contractions, I always told John, like, I know it's real when I want you to stop talking to me and I'm trying to breathe through these contractions. So that's how I knew that it was super real. It was go time. Those contractions were like, oh my gosh. It was a whole moaning and groaning fest the entire time until I got to the hospital. And yeah, so we got there. My water broke around 5:30. Got to the hospital at 6. And they took 45 minutes to put an IV in me, okay? I have little veins in both of my hands. My veins are very small. So I've always had a problem with getting an IV in. So I told them that, and it literally took them 45 minutes. And I was having contractions while somebody is trying to poke me with a needle. Okay, that was very uncomfortable. But so in between every contraction, I would look at my nurse and I'd be like, okay, stop. You're not about to poke me while I'm having a contraction. You need to stop. Mind you, my contractions were like every 2 minutes. So yeah, that was like a very long 45 minutes of trying to get an IV in. So what they ended up doing is putting the IV in the worst spot possible, which was in my arm. So I'll tell you about that once we deliver the baby. So that happened. And then, so it's like 6:45, almost 7 o'clock-ish. Now, when I got there, I was already 5 centimeters dilated. I literally felt Mina coming down the birth canal. Like, I felt every single thing. And I wouldn't say that it hurt. It was just very uncomfortable. It was just like uncontrollably uncomfortable. Like, it was nothing that I could do to make myself comfortable, because I felt every twist and turn that she did as she was trying to get out of there. So that happened, and it was just one point in me. I just remember my mom telling me the first time with Milan, because I was like, ooh, ah, with every contraction. And I remember my mom telling me, like, Bridget, be quiet and just channel all the energy into having the baby. And that voice was in the back of my head. So once I did that, I just would be quiet. And with Milan, my coping mechanism was to shake my leg. And with Mina, I had to shake my head. This is what I did every time I had a contraction. And John thought it was something wrong with me. Like, I remember looking at him and like my eyes kind of like rolling back a little bit while I was having them. And he was trying to touch me while I was having these contractions. And I would like tap the bed like, no, homie, we're not doing that. We are not touching, okay? Stop. And he would, oh, I was so mean to him. And I'm so sorry, babe. I was so mean to him during this laboring process. And I remember looking at him and like just telling him to shut up. Like, please just stop talking to me. Okay? And I wanted to cuss my nurse out, because she was doing this thing where she was putting pillows underneath my hips to try to get the baby to like come down. And I wanted to like just shake her and just tell her to shut up, because she had like this very sweet, gentle voice. And that's not how I was feeling at the moment. I was not in pain, but I was very uncomfortable. And she was just like, it's okay. And I'm like, no, it's not okay. Like, there's a whole human coming out my crotch right now. But no, so she was like trying to put these pillows underneath my hips. And I didn't have like the little, it starts with an S. The little things that you like rest your legs on. Like, I asked her to put those up for me. And she was like, you don't need them yet. I'm like, what do you mean I don't need them? Like, these legs is heavy. But no. So yeah, so she was doing that. That was very uncomfortable. And then I pushed for probably about 45 minutes with Mina, and she was a girl. Yay! I have another baby girl. So she was born at 9 o'clock. So again, my water broke at 5:30. Got to the hospital at 6. She was born at 9 o'clock on the dot. She was actually born in her meconium. So she had pooped inside of me. Gross. But yeah, so she was born in her meconium. So that was like scary. When she came out, the look, like I can see it in my head right now, she just looked like she didn't cry. She did not cry right away. I wasn't scared because I know how that goes when baby is born in meconium, but she just looked, and of course they had to whisk her away and make sure she was breathing fine. So that was a different experience for me, because with Milan, I was able to like pat her and rub her and kiss on her like right away. And with Mina, I literally had to wait probably about 30 minutes to hold my baby, which was a different experience. And then she also came out and her arm was like super limp, like she didn't have any mobility, and I think it was in her left arm. And they were just saying it was kind of how she came out and how she was sitting when she was trying to come out. So she came out with like a super limp arm, wasn't breathing. So I wasn't scared. I was not scared or nervous. I knew that she was fine. Like once I did hear her breathe, a few hours later, her arm was fine. So yeah, so she came out. She was 7 pounds, 14 ounces, 18 inches long. I have little short babies because I'm short. But yeah, and that girl was almost 8 pounds. Like she was a chunky chunk. Like she looked so fat in her pictures, but she was just so little and small to me. And I knew she was gonna be a girl. I did. I mean, I just had like this mommy, I guess, intuition. But I just figured if I had one girl, I told everybody this, if I had one girl, I probably was just gonna have another one. But yeah, so we have our sweet Mina Samar. Her middle name is actually a combination between John's mom and my mom, Margaret and Sandra, so Samar. So I thought that was super cute. And that's how I had Mina. It was super fast, and I remember everybody telling me like the second time goes really fast, and that's exactly what happened. I labored for 3 hours and I had a baby. And I think if I have another kid, I'll probably have it in the car. But yeah, so that is the story of Mina Samar. And I'll make sure I upload clips, but it's very, very boring, guys, because I was just like in tune to myself. I didn't say anything. And I showed you guys like a little clip of like her gender reveal of like her coming out, but that was pretty much it. But I will insert that footage for you guys. I look a hot mess, but that is besides the point. It's time. My water broke about 30-40 minutes ago, and we're here. Babe just went to get the bags. My contractions are about every 1 to 4 minutes apart. This beeping sound is very annoying, but we're here. These contractions are kicking my ass, but it's okay because I'm gonna meet you, and I'm gonna change out of this ugly gown and put on my pretty one. But I can't wait to meet you, baby Anderson. Mommy and Daddy loves you, and Sissy. Mwah. Okay. Oh shit. Oh.
Come on, use your nose. Use the whole contraction. Use the whole contraction. That's it, girl.
That's
Girl.
better.
Much better. That's it. That's a good
Nice
job.
pushing.
Hey, thanks.
Well, you probably got like 3 more push-ups.
Okay.
You got enough time to get them out. I'll just wait here for one side.
Perfect, thank you.
Is it inside?
Ow. Alright, breathe. Don't push for a second. Big hands on. I can see the head.
I gotta push.
Man,
Okay. I gotta push.
good. Get that shoulder out. Shoulder's already out, actually. A lot of pressure in the shoulder comes out.
Come around, baby.
Oh, good job. Good job. I can see you.
Breathe.
Good job.
There we go.
This is a big baby. Look down. Over here. Oh, Dad. It's a girl! You want to record? Get the baby over there real quick. Definitely.
I feel so
Talk about the baby girl. Alright, Dad. And right between the two there. Yeah, right here? Yep. Little chewy. Yep. It's okay. Go ahead and stop.
Okay, Mama, we're gonna take a right over here to see the pediatrician, okay?
Girl again, you look like your sister. You look like your sister.
For you guys. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.